Good evening to each and everyone gathered here. For today's event, we have with us our CIO, Mr. Sunil Damania, where he'll discuss the equity outlook for September 2022. He'll also share the strategies. He'll also suggest if you can rely on the current rally. You can drop in your questions in the Q&A box below the video on any concerns you may have on stock or sector related, and Sunil will try answering all of them. Over to you, Mr. Sunil.
Hey, thanks a lot again and very warm welcome all of you. First, let me wish everyone happy Ganesh Chaturthi. I know it was yesterday, but the festival is still on. So let me take this opportunity to wish everyone a very prosperous Ganesh Chaturthi and Ganesh festival. So, as we all know, a lot of prosperity is getting added to the investors' wealth. Why? Because we saw a very smart rally in the month of July, and that same rally got extended further in the month of August. I distinctly recollect when I was making a presentation, similar presentation, same time last month, someone came with a very interesting analysis and he suggested that normally month of August is a very bad month. And if you remember at that point of time, I did mention that the rally will continue in the month of August, but the quantum of gain which was there in the month of what we saw in the month of July will not be the similar for the month of August. Now that comes a very interesting, the market has done well, so where do we see, how do we see the market going forward? And if you know, first day of the month we always do webinar on the equity outlook. So let me start my presentation with a small disclaimer that this webinar is only for an education purpose. Whenever you invest in the equity market, it does carry a little higher amount of risk, and past performance should not be considered as an indicator for the future returns. With this, let's try to understand what happened in the market last month. The good thing is that market not only had a rally, but we saw this rally across the market cap and across the various sectors. Only two sectors did not participate. One was IT because of challenges that the IT industry is going through. And second one, the pharma, where I think the challenges continues to be there. Why? Because the prices of generics continues to remain a little soft. Metal index for a change did extremely well. And this is despite, if you look at on month, there has not been much of a change in the copper and the steel prices. But aluminum price did move up, but there was no reason. And I do get a sense that some amount of what we call the people saw the valuation taking so much beating. So some kind of a value buying seems to have happened. Is it going to sustain? Looks a little doubtful for the very simple reason, because the underlying commodities prices have remained a little soft. And what has happened in the global economy, where the China or the US, I think it would be a challenge for the metal index to continue. But we'll wait and watch what happens in the month of September. If you look at how this market did second month in a row in 2023, where almost all leading indices close in the green. So that gives another comfort level that this rally is not narrow base but the broad base, and that's a very good indicator to look at it. FIIs at the same time, and if you remember, we were the odd one out and predicted that FII will come back very strongly. We said in the month of June, when there was a heavy selling that took place from FIIs, and we were a little contrarian, and our prediction did come true, where not only in the month of July the FIIs were positive, but they really got extended even in the investment got extended in the month of August also. 50,000 crore in 1 month. That's what the kind of FII's investment in the month of August, and that clearly shows their conviction level. So sometimes we talk about कि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स का सेंटिमेंट थोड़ा फिकल होता है, बट even FIs have a sentiments which is little fickle. Why? Because there was so much negative in the month of August, and in month of August, in just a gap of 1 month, they've turned heavy net buyer in the equity market. So sometimes I keep telling you investors, don't come to conclusion based on 1 month, 2 months or 3 months data point, because there's no meaning at all to the overall this. You need to remain little calm and composed. And हवा का रुख कभी बदल जाएगा किसको मालूम नहीं है. So that's what you should be aware about equity market. Or sometimes some people come to conclusion अरे ये इतना गिर गया तो how will I able to recover my portfolio, so on and so forth. And that thing we have seen changing very quickly and very fast. I think one major highlight for the month of August was the much anticipated Jerome Powell speech at the Jackson Hall, and this speech was done last Thursday or Friday, and market did correct very significantly in the US. No nonsensical approach from the Jerome Powell saying that for us inflation is the main culprit and we want to rein the inflation come what may, and even if that's going to cause some pain, so be it. Message was loud and clear by the Fed governor. And today, what is the general consensus seems to be that we should expect another 50 bips rate hike from Fed chairman, and this is on over and above 150 bips rate hike that we saw in last two meetings, 75 bips, another 75 bips rate hike. So we should expect that. That's what the market has been budgeting for. For some reason, if the rate of hike is a little higher, I think it could further dampen the sentiment in the US. So remember, it's a very classical thing. There's a very classical disconnect between what's happening in the Indian market and what's happening in the US market. If you look at S&P 500, in the month of August, it's down. But Indian market is in positive. If you look at YTD, whether it's a Dow, whether it's a Nasdaq, whether it's an S&P 500, they all three are down in excess of double digits. So they're more than 10% down, am I right? And while the Indian equity market is in positive. So whether you look at short term, whether you look at long term, there has been some decoupling that has happened between the US market and the Indian market. If you remember last time I predicted that inflation would be less than 7%. And exactly that has happened. Inflation is come down to 6.71%. Third month in a row, inflation has declined. And I think that should be one of the soothing factor. So India is a very rare combination where economy is expanding and inflation is coming down. Globally, the problem seems to be that inflation is rising and growth is coming down. And I think it's a very sweet spot India is into in terms of that's one of the reasons why FI has been invested very heavily in the month of August. Now, when you look at the overall volume on the NSE cash segment, there's one more thing which has happened this is the third month in a row we saw volume increasing on the market, and that's a very happy scenario. Why? Because it increased to almost 58,000 average volume as compared to 46,000 crore. So substantial jump that has happened in the market. So overall rally, decoupling from the US, each and every market cap participated. Even the volume has increased. These are all good indicators suggesting that undercurrent in the market has been extremely strong. So whatever the bad news that came in, I think market was able to absorb all this with much more clarity. In terms of GST collection, which data has just come for the month of August, this is for the month of August, was 1.43 lakh crore as compared to 1.49 lakh crore. So it's a decline month on month, but on year there has been an increase. government has now revised the target and they are suggesting that they should aim at near about 1.7 lakh crore. We need to wait and watch because 1.5 lakh that they believe is a normal run rate that they should be able to achieve that. India's first quarter GDP got announced yesterday, 13.5%. It's lower than what was expected, but considering the overall global outlook, I think it has been extremely good. Also, by 15th of August, the result season got over. And if you look at the data point, I think India Inc. did extremely well of 25.8% growth in terms of net profit. Of course, there's been a quarter-on-quarter decline, but we need to also understand that March is always the best quarter for India Inc. And hence comparing quarter-on-quarter could be a little challenging. But another good thing which I really like is that the resilience that India Inc. has shown, despite so much challenges and so much problem, they have been able to report 1.8% growth on quarter. And I think that clearly shows the ability of India Inc. And I think I would give a lot of credit to India Inc. The overall number has been quite good. That's one of the reasons market extended the gain. What it saw in the month of July got extended in the month of August. The result season is over, but this is what the data is. So these are the highlights of the August quarter. If you look at the Sensex, I think second month in a row, we saw that something similar in the month of July and something similar is happening in the month of August. Well, the lowest level of the Sensex was the beginning of the month. And market never did not touch that level even once in the rest of the month, closing somewhere near 59,537. And if you look at the red tower that you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 days only. Of course, it was a little 6 days only when the index was lower than what it was at the previous close. But August has a very limited number of days. Why? Because we saw 15th August as a bank holiday. And of course, yesterday was also a holiday, 31st August. And hence, the number of days were little less as far as trading days are concerned because of 2 holidays coming in. But I think one thing is very, very good, that undercurrent is extremely well in the market, because second month in a row, the lowest level was the beginning of the month level. Market, after 3 months in a continuous decline, 2 months in a row, increase. And that's a very good scenario. And if you look at the even advanced decline ratio, so 1.24, which was previous month when the index went up by 8.6, and 1.2. So advanced decline ratio continue to remain very, very strong and robust. And that's another reason, I keep saying that advanced decline ratio does gives an indication what is happening in the overall, what is the undercurrent sentiment in the market, and that continues to remain. So all the data points that you look at it, whether you look at the data points in terms of rally in the mid and small cap, whether you look at the data point in terms of sectoral indices, whether you look at the volume, whether you look at the advanced decline ratio, I think it continues to give an indication that undercurrent in the market has been extremely robust. And due to that, the India's market cap now stands at 2.8 lakh crore. That's a 280 lakh crore. Like beg of pardon, 280 lakh crore. There's some data added there. So 280 lakh crore is the market cap of India, and that's clearly gives you an idea. From 2.43 lakh crore that we saw in the month of 243 lakh crore that we saw in the month of June has increased to 280 lakh crore. Gain of almost 37 lakh crore. I think that clearly gives an idea how good the market has been doing. Of course, when you compare with December 2021, it's marginal increase, and we saw some IPOs coming in also. But what it is gives an help is that the trend has been going upward. Which are the indices? Nifty Metal, I was saying, did very well. Nifty Energy seems is done well extremely, and I think energy as a pack seems to be gaining a lot of traction because of, I think, the shortage of energy across the world. PSU Bank did extremely well, and so is the case with Bank Nifty, which was up by near about 5.6%. Nifty and Sensex are up by 3.5% to so and so. Again, small cap did better. If you look at the mid cap index is up by 5.64%, while overall index is only up by 3.5. The large cap is up by 3.5. And if you look at the small cap, is 5.89. So what has happened? Small cap did better as compared to mid cap, and mid cap did better than as compared to the large cap. That clearly shows the rally is spreading across the board. Of course, as I was explaining in my first slide, IT continues to struggle, Nifty Pharma continues to struggle, and I think this is a little cause of concern because Nifty IT do have significant weightage in the Nifty 50. Which are the company which did extremely well in Nifty 50 for the month of August? I think you can look at it. Some of the auto companies have come in. Mahindra and Mahindra is there. Eicher Motor is there. That gives an idea. If you look at some of the NBFCs did extremely well, like banks did well, like Bajaj Finserv, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, gives an idea. And I think Energy, that's a Coal India or NTPC, did extremely well. Divi's Lab continued to underperform as we expected and we predicted also. Tata Consumer which we had advised to get out of when we the stock of the month, continued to underperform. And I keep saying time and again, your call on the market or the sector could be right. But if you happen to be in the wrong company, you will not make money. That's for sure. And hence I keep requesting all of you, your focus should be on the company that you own in the portfolio. Otherwise, market में तेजी आएगी, आपके portfolio में तेजी नहीं आएगी, and vice versa. And hence, I always keep, of course, 1 month is a too short a period, but that's what I keep saying so. If you look at the worst performer, again, you see company like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, HCL Tech, that clearly shows IT seems to be having a challenge, tough time in getting investors' attention. And there is one correlation which has still not happened. The decoupling has not happened with the US market, is the Nifty IT index and the Nasdaq. I think both are mimicking very similar kind of movement in the market. What has happened 2002 to 2022? The journey has been, now mid cap has outperformed the large cap in 2022. And underperformance of small cap has come down. It's only down by 2.1%. So, which clearly says that things are improving for some of our mid and small cap. And if you remember, small cap and the mid cap were underperforming the large cap. That trend is started now reversing. And we saw in the month of August also, small cap did better than large cap. Small cap did better than the mid cap, and mid cap did better than the large cap. FIIs back with the bang, 51,000 crore. 51,000 crore, and that's a very substantial. Whatever they sold in the month of June, they bought back that much amount in August 2022. And I again, if you remember, I predicted that in the month of June, I said that FII will come back with strongly and they will be a net positive buyer on the Indian market, and I continue to believe that they will be net positive for the full year 2022. So they will buy more than what they sold in the first half of 2022. Whatever they sold in second half, they will buy more than that. The domestic institutional investors did some profit booking of near about 7,000 crore, and that has happened after many months in a row of positive buy. Now let's look at this southwest monsoon progress, and this is data as of yesterday. What you see, a red is a deficient, and this portion is a deficient, the monsoon. What you see, a green is a normal, excess, which is a little light blue color, and large excess, which is basically more than 60%. So that the normal has been this place, this portion of this normal, but other places is more than this one. Now the cause of concern is this portion. And I think if you remember my last slide also, last month also when I did it, I think this part of country continue to receive a very scanty monsoon, and I think that's going to impact some amount of agricultural output, and paddy seems to be the biggest casualty because of this. And I think government can come out with any measures just to ensure that there is not there could be an export ban on the rice export ban that can come, because last week, if you remember, government did announce measures to not to they allowed not to they said that you cannot export wheat flour and other things, just to ensure that enough quantity is available in the country. Now, what should we expect going forward? There are a couple of things which is going to be define the market very, very clearly. First thing is the RBI is going to have its Monetary Policy Committee meeting on 20th to 30th September, and we should expect at least 35 to 50 bips rate hike, which most probably could be the last rate hike in 2022 from RBI. And I think RBI should take some pause in terms of, and most probably in 2023 we should expect RBI to start reducing the rate of interest. Okay, so that's one that market would look at, and the market will start discounting. Of course, we'll get the inflation number coming in, and that will also give an indication what kind of stand RBI will take. Southwest monsoon season comes to an end in the month of September. Market will watch very closely what happens to that. Is there a right now we are in about 6% growth in the monsoon overall, but there are 6-7 states where we saw deficient monsoon. Am I right? Now, southwest monsoon is a very critical. Why? Because it will define what kind of food grade production we get. That will also define what kind of rural household income we will have, and that will also define what kind of inflation trajectory we are going to see. Why? Because food inflation can impact the overall purchasing power of the consumers. So I think this is what market will watch very, very closely. So first the inflation number coming in, which will decide what kind of policy action RBI will take, and what has been the progress of the southwest monsoon. We continue to believe that rupee has hit the bottom, which we stated in last equity outlook also, and it has actually. We do not see much of it, and that will continue. So don't expect too much depreciation in the rupee. We did mention that I think the bottom should be near very closer to 80 rupees, and that's what, and rupee should remain stable from that level. We strongly believe, as we mentioned last month also, that FI will remain net positive bias. We continue to believe that FIs will be net bias even in September 2022, purely because there is no other economy or no other market that can help them to generate alpha other than India, and hence they will keep coming back to India. But if you remember, I stated the gain in the month of August would be lower than the July, and that's exactly what has happened. And I do get a sense that September would be a little subdued as compared to August. Why? Because we have seen a very smart rally since mid-June, and hence I do expect some amount of profit booking taking place or coming in during the September 2022. So what should be a strategy? I think we continue to believe that, so no one invests for 1 month, am I right? So don't try to, I'm just giving you the flavor. I'm not trying to say that you should try to time the market. What I'm giving a flavor is that your expectations should be a little realistic for the month of September. That's what I wanted to convey. But no one invests in the market for 1 month, 2 months or 3 months. We continue to believe, and we strongly believe, that undercurrent in the market has been extremely robust. And that's the clearly message that bull will always have an upper hand in terms of deciding which direction the market would go. The risk-reward ratio has turned in the favor of reward since July, and it continues to remain so. So there is no reason for you to get panic in case of the market sees some kind of a volatility in the month of September. I know some of you people will try to time the market. Why? Because you believe that you are smart enough to time the market. Please don't make that attempt. Do not try to time the market. Market will remain a little choppy, but by Diwali, as we have been saying, October 2000, sentiment would be extremely bullish, and we continue to maintain that. If any money you need to, you are not very sure whether you should deploy it one go or not, you can always deploy in 3 equal monthly installment. That's what you can do that. Equity is all about 3 to 5 years. And last but not the least, please follow our advice. Don't bring your human emotions, because that could impact the sentiment. I know many of you have been waiting for the market to correct since July 2022. It has not happened. Market further went up. And some of you still believe that global sentiment can impact the market. Yes, it can impact the market. I'm not saying no. But the undercurrent is so strong that any decline would be equally come back very strongly. So if you remember, I think on Monday we declined, but Tuesday the gain has been extremely strong. And it recovered whatever the loss that we saw. And something similar can keep happening going forward. Remember, bull seems to be in more control than the bear in this time at this point of time, and that's a clearly positive message that's coming out. Before I open the floor, just a gentle reminder that we do have a massive 50% discount offer, 19,999 for 2 years, which comes at 50% discount, which includes fundamental, trading 80, and mutual fund also. The only thing which does not include is model portfolio and portfolio optimizer. And if you look at the price, 10,000 rupees per annum, near about 800 rupees per day, per month, and less than 30 rupees per day, it's a very good price for someone to start creating wealth journeys. I'll request my colleague again to please drop the link, and let's open the floor for question and answer.
The first question is from Mr. Srinivas Shenoy. Dear Sunil sir, what explains the sharp rally in vinyl chemicals, and do you think it can sustain? Thank you so much for this script. I have made around 60% gain.
Thanks a lot, sir, Senai sir. We do believe it continues to remain our Mojo stock, and we continue to believe that this company should do well. So please continue to remain invested. Just only one piece of advice, sir. It's a micro cap company. Be wary of when you invest in the micro cap company. Why? Because micro cap by nature are more volatile, and hence I always advise investors, one of the smart way to do and play in this micro cap is to remain nimble footed, and hence as a good strategy at appropriate time, whatever that gives you comfort level, you should keep locking in some portion of the profit. Why? Because small cap or micro cap by nature are volatile in nature. By nature they are volatile. So you need to be very, very careful with that.
The next question is from Mr. Rajesh Kumar. Sunil sir, I am a Mojo professional member. Today Raj Kumar, the additional chief secretary of Industries and Mines Department, who is also the chairman of GMDC, said that GMDC commencing a rare earth processing plant which will strengthen the industries that use rare earth elements. It will also help make Gujarat a renewable RE processing hub, he added, the value chain for rare earth. Sir, what is the meaning of rare earth elements, and how will this affect the GMDC stock price?
So if you remember, this is not the first time that they have announced about this. This is a plan in progress. So this is just a reiteration of what has been already stated of this. Rare earth it's a mining thing which you do that, which will help you to improve your margin on this one. So I think its idea is to become more sales. Rare earth by nature is rare, is very difficult to find, and earth which is available under the earth. That's what it basically means. So if you remember, Mojo stock, GMDC is our Mojo stock. It was underperforming very significantly, but in last 1 month or so, it's done extremely well. Maybe not last one, but maybe last couple of months it did extremely well. It recovered some of the lost ground, and now I think it's very closer to the price. It becomes a Mojo stock. So we continue to believe GMDC should do well. Yes, it has gone down to somewhere about 133, 134, and then it started moving up to 164, 165 kind of a stuff. So yes, we do believe that the GMDC should do well. It's a Mojo stock. See, this is also not easy, and let me tell you one thing. So I don't want to give you that this is a desire. This is what the Gujarat company was to do, we need to wait and watch how much they're able to do it, what kind of mining they're able to do, and so on and so forth. So it's not easy to do things, but the news like this is a very positive to improve the sentiment. But is this there in the price? It's already there in the price because market was expecting this to happen.
The next question is from Mr. Jagmohan. With Reliance doing a lot of capex, would it not affect its profit and hence the share price?
So Reliance always will be doing a big capex. Sir, Reliance is the name of the game of, mega capex. Whether you look at with Jio, whether you look at with Rail, or whether you look at OTC, Reliance doesn't talk small. It always talk big, and they've delivered that big in terms of this one. So will it affect its profit? If you go by the historical numbers, it's not actually. And the price has been more or less very steady of Reliance. So we don't expect any impact. And the company has announced to go into FMCG in their, this one I think that's another. So, every AGM, if you look at it, Reliance will announce some new things. And that really shows the kind of vision the Reliance has, the management of Reliance has for the company. Not many companies in the world, forget about India, who can meet this kind of an ambitious, every time they will come and they will announce some mega things. And they not only announce mega things, they actually deliver at the end of the day. And I think that's a very great thing to do that. So, will it affect the profit? Maybe in a short run, maybe yes. But is it going to affect the share price because of that? I don't think so. And I think the way Reliance has given some kind of a clarity in terms of succession planning, I think it's going to make Reliance a company to watch out for. So if you look at, can you see my screen? Just can you see, if you look at it, this Reliance is in our system is 74 with the buy. We do believe that Reliance should do well. So my request to all of you, please, and if you look at it year to date, it's up by 8.2% versus the overall benchmark, which is up by 1% or so. Yeah.
The next question is from Mr. Shaji. In your last webinar, you said that bank will underperform within few months, but as per your data, today FII has brought more than 51,000 crores. How does it justify your statement that banks will underperform, or is there any other reason for FII buying in banks?
Saji, if you look at it, the data, so if you look at the data of bank, and again, let me take back to my this one. Can you see my screen again? So if you look at the data of Bank Nifty last 1 year, 7.5, and last 3 years is 43.29. Now let me take back to this data of 3 years. 57 and 43. So despite Bank Nifty, which is a substantial portion of Nifty 50, it has Bank Nifty has underperformed for a period of 3 years. Am I right? And 3 years period, FI bought very heavily, and yet it is underperformed. So not necessarily if FI buy more than 51,000 crore, which they bought in the month of August, the Bank Nifty should do well. And that's what we are seeing is historical data. Am I right? We are not looking at when I make a prediction, I'm saying prediction for the future, not for the what has already happened. And not necessarily if FIs buy in Nifty 50, in Bank Nifty, it should outperform, not necessarily, because there are evidence which is available. Whenever FI bought in that one particular sector, that particular sector has not done well. So there is no reason why it should do well. If you remember from March 2020, when the market crash happened, FI did buy very substantial. But Nifty 50 underperformed to Nifty, Bank Nifty underperformed to Bank Nifty 50. And that can happen. So that's the reason, sir.
The next question is from Mr. Shashank. The prices of urea is increasing in Europe. Do you think it will help the fertilizer stocks here? Please share your views on it.
So Shashank, here also most of the fertilizer companies do sell their price much below the price that they get sold to the farmers, because they need to give subsidy on that. So will that get, I'm not very sure how much urea India exports. I don't think so India exports urea to the best of my knowledge. We do import. What could happen is that ammonia price have gone up substantially in the Europe market. And I think some of the players in India who manufacture the product ammonia, I think they should get a lot of benefit of that. Urea, I don't think it's going to get benefit, because government give huge subsidy for them, and I'm not very sure that they would like to export this instead of make this product available in the domestic market. If that happens, I think government of India can put a ban on that, because government job is to ensure that there is enough urea is available for the domestic farmers as compared to the international markets. I don't think that's going to happen.
The next question is from Mr. Ratish. Do you think still Rajatan is a buy at the current price? And what is your view on Nelco and Sport King?
Nelco and Sport King. Sport King, I don't have much of an idea, but Nelco, I believe I did mention some time back that it looks a little exciting because the kind of business they are into. So I think they should do well. As far as Rajatan, it's a Mojo stock. Definitely, it should do well. It has done well. It should do well. And there's also the auto and auto ancillary as a segment is getting a lot of traction. And if that is so, it should also give some tailwinds to the Rajatan Global. So yes, it does make a sense. I was just looking at it, India in 2020, I was just looking at the export data, and I think India does export to urea and DAP to Nepal and other places, but I don't think India export much to the outside world. So I don't think so. That's the thing. I don't think India export too much.
Yeah. The next question is from Mr. Nibin. So what is your personal view on Adani Wilmar and Adani Power upon the present economic conditions?
So we'll go with the score. That's my personal opinion is view on the what's available on the website. See, one thing we must also understand that Reliance is also going into FMCG, and that's going to increase the competition. And one direct competition could be Adani Wilmar in that sense. And Reliance also has a very strong presence for its own retail outlet. So it's a deadly combination, where you have your own FMCG product which are available in other stores, also in your own stores, and that gives you that distribution might which other would miss it. As far as Adani Wilmar is concerned, our score of the company is SAIL 41. If you can see my screen, can you just it's Adani Wilmar is 41, and let me take you to Adani Power. Let's see what is the score that we have on Adani Power. The power companies have done well. It's a hold right now. So if you already own Adani Power, you can continue to hold. But fresh buy is not a count. But remember, this company did extremely well, 309% in 2022. So it has gone up substantially. So let's be very careful that this company has done extremely well.
The next question is from Mr. Sarang. With FII continuously buying in back-to-back months and festive season around the corner, will we see Nifty crossing the previous high this year, sir? And how slowdown in China will impact the Indian market going forward?
So I think, yes, festive season around the corner, that always happens. So I don't think that's something which is new that market normally reacts positive or negative, which is not known to them. If it is known, it's known. Am I right? It's like during monsoon, the construction activity comes down, and hence demand for steel cement would be low. Does it mean that cement price cannot, the sale price of cement will not do well? That's not the case. Am I right? Or some of this product, consumer durable company, when they normally sell more during festive season. That doesn't mean that the sale price will not do well when this festive season is not there, because it's already there. Like I distinctly recollect when we recommended Varun Beverages stock of the month, many of you said, "अरे अभी तो winter आने वाला है, और winter आने वाला है, तो who is going to consume the Pepsi, which is a biggest franchisee of Varun Beverages, one of the biggest franchisee of Pepsi outside US." But share price did move up. So I think that's not the right way to look at it. As far as the question is, can Nifty cross previous high this year? Looks possible. As you know, that possibility is very high that it can do that, basically. So my sense is that yes, it can do that. Very much possible. So that's one. And second thing, what would be the impact of China slowdown in Indian market? So if any negative major news comes out from the Chinese market, there could be a temporary impact on the sentiment, okay, of India also. But I think what happens is, if something goes wrong with China, I think India would be the biggest beneficiary, because that will open up more avenues for others to explore India as this one. So I believe what happens to China, if it goes little bad, I think more and more people will look at India as a source, either to source their goods and services, or even the FII will think, if the China is not doing well, let us put more money into Indian equity market. So I think that would be beneficial. The short run, it could be a little challenging, but long run, I think it should do well.
The next question is from Mr. Menon. Sunil ji, Time Techno is hitting new high. Will we be advised when to sell? Also, Catholic Syrian Bank, which may get merged with IDBI. So, is there any more upswing to be expected in these?
So, Time Technoplast has been a Mojo stock, and if you remember, this is the same company which was not doing so well, and some of you people did express some frustration. Are ye creepy nahi chal raha hai? What should we do? And now you are saying, it's hitting new high, and that's what happens with the market. Market has its own way to frustrate you, and if you get frustrated and you do something wrong, and this is what happens. Please continue to hold Time Technoplast. We continue to believe this company should do well. It's a buy in our system. Even today, when the overall market was down, I think Time Technoplast closed in the green. Catholic Syrian Bank merging with this one, to be very frank with you, I don't have any a particular view on the CSB, this one. Right now, CSB Bank shows hold in our system, and that's what I would suggest you to hold. Fresh buy is not expected. And even I don't know what is the... So in another way, you can look at it, you look at the merger ratio between IDBI and the Catholic Syrian Bank and decide what you should be doing with. Does it make sense? Does it have an opportunity for you to create more alpha by doing arbitrage or not? That's also you can look at it.
The next question is from Mr. Umesh. Sir, please suggest future of DLF. The charts look super bullish.
Sir, if the chart looks very super bullish to you, you should then buy it actually, right? Right now our system suggests it's a sell. If you look at our technical also, it has improved from sideways to mildly bullish. So, but our overall score says that this company can underperform. So that's what it is from my side. And I think real estate, whenever the rate of interest start going up, the real estate is the one casualty that happens. And that could also happen. And if RBI decides to hike a rate, which we believe that they will in the next monetary policy, which will happen on September 28 to 30, this would further dampen the sentiment. So my sense is that, yes, DLF has done well, no doubt about it. Our technical indicator did move to mildly bullish from sideways, but overall score suggests that this company can underperform.
The next question is from Mr. Rahul Kumar K. Is there any turnaround in Anil Ambani stocks, and will power sector help Reliance Power to skyrocket?
Very difficult to say. Will it? So I will not comment about what happens with the Anil Ambani group stocks. What I've observed over the years, that the sector or the promoter, when they loses their fancy, it takes hell of a time to regain that fancy. In fact, many times it doesn't happen only. Okay, it does give an impression that it will start doing well, but many times we have observed that it doesn't happen. So my sense is that be careful. My personal opinion, this is be careful of what you get into. Remain nimble-footed. That's what my advice would be. Would you put it as a part of your portfolio, long-term portfolio? The answer is no. It should be more of a trading portfolio than the investment portfolio.
The next question is from Mr. Ritish. Kindly share your views on all cargo, as in these days it's increasing daily, irrespective of the market movement.
You're right. I think the demerger that's also been announced, that is also could be helping this company. But the score is hold right now in our system. And I would request you to please hold. It was a Mojo stock. We were holding this company. We did advise moving out of all cargo. It's no longer a Mojo stock. But yes, the score is 67.
The next question is from Miss Lakshmi Lalwani. Hi Sunil sir, as we are seeing a global issue with US market and other global markets because of inflation and fear of recession in the US market, how much impact we can see of that on the Indian market? I have one more question. I'm thinking of shifting my personal portfolio to model aggressive portfolio instead of moving to HNI power portfolio. Is it a wise decision to move to model portfolio?
So let me answer both the questions separately. As far as I mentioned in my beginning of my webinar, I did mention that we have started seeing decoupling of Indian market with the US market. That has happened in the month of August. It has also happened in the 2022 YTD 2022, and it will happen. The US has to face its own challenges, and India will have to face its own challenge. Of course, there could be some amount of impact of collateral damage that can happen because of the US market, but that impact would be little limited and not that deep. That's point number one. Point number two, about the question number two that you asked me, you are planning to shift your personal to model portfolio, aggressive portfolio. You can do that. There is no harm in that. Normally what we have observed that Infinity as a strategy gives more higher returns as compared to model portfolio. But if you think that you don't want to do that and you want to go with aggressive model portfolio, that's also fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because ultimately all the portfolios are managed by our same investment committee. It's not that. The only thing, the construct is different. So if you're looking at over a longer period of time, I think Mojo Infinity Power should give you higher returns compared to aggressive model portfolio. But then it's also a question of how much risk you are willing to take in that. So choice is yours. You pick and choose what suits you. See, there is nothing called one size fits all. Am I right? Every investors will have different risk appetite and different risk expectation, and that's how it you should make. So you should ask yourself what gives you comfortable. If the comfort level is more with the model portfolio, please go ahead with the model portfolio. There's nothing wrong with that.
The next question is from Mr. Abdul Rahman. Usually you would say don't time the market and also don't predict the bottom. In this current bull run, can we at least predict the top, and any idea when IT will be benefit from this market?
Sir, I'm not an expert to predict when the market will hit the bottom or when the market will hit the top. I did predict, and that's the based on some data analysis that I did, that Sensex should touch 1.25 lakhs by April 2027, and Nifty somewhere in the region of 38,000. That's what I predicted, and I continue to believe that. Now, is that the top? It's very difficult to say now in 2022 whether 1.25 lakhs would be top or not. And of course, we need to wait and watch. As the time progresses, we can revise or we can downward our target. So I don't think it's a futile exercise, sir, Abdulji, to try to figure it out how much top it would be. So don't do that. That's my request to you. And even if you know, how it's going to help you? It not going to help you, because your view on the market could be anything. Ultimately, what decides is the stock that you hold in the portfolio. Even if the market has done well, there are many stocks which are same price which were there in Feb 2020. Many companies, prominent companies, like someone sent me the other day, I think HDFC AMC, the price is the same. Just can you allow me to share the screen, please? So I'm taking you to HDFC AMC, okay? And let's look at the price of HDFC AMC, okay? So somewhere in Feb 2020 to Feb 2020, before the COVID hit us, it was somewhere about 3,300. The market did extremely well. Can you see this? The market did extremely well, okay? And the script is down. So, sometimes the market may go up and your script will not. And I'm taking a very prominent group. Am I right? Well, a lot of mutual fund, a lot of investors move to the mutual fund through SIP, and yet this AMC underperformed. So, Abdulji, what you wish to achieve? Your aim is to create wealth from investing in the market. And you could be short term, mid term, it doesn't matter. But over a long term, I think India is going to have a very good structural bull run. And if that is so, don't even try to make an attempt to find out where the top is. Even if you're successful, it's not going to help you. Your second part of your question is that when will the IT will get benefited from the markets? I think we have time and again said, and we did exclusive webinars only on the IT sector, and we did mention that situation could remain little sluggish for the IT sector till we see the September numbers coming out. And based on the commentary that they are going to announce, I think we'll get in clarity how much attrition rate is behind the curve or behind its rear view kind of stuff. What kind of the revenue outlook they are looking at? Is there is kind of a scale back by the vendors, by the customers in terms of IT budget and so and so. So we do expect IT can underperform till we get more clarity from the September 2022 numbers. So maybe 1 month and maybe 1.5 months from here on, I think we get good sense of which way the sector is going to perform. So I think right now it's wait and watch. And there's one more thing which has happened, Abdulji, is that there is a strong correlation between the Nasdaq price movement and the Nifty IT. So you know how Nifty IT index perform, you should closely watch what is happening with Nasdaq. If Nasdaq goes up, even Nifty IT index can go up.
The next question is from Mr. Vineet M. Hi Sunil ji, you mentioned about Nelco last week and it's been hitting the upper circuit daily. Being from the Tata group, can it be entered at the current level?
Yeah, I must tell you that last time also I suggested very clearly. I think the business that it's into, it's a very exciting business and it's a business of the future. So let me go to our website right now what the Nelco says, and I would suggest you please follow that. I think it's a hold in our system. So at this level, I would suggest you to please hold. Don't do the fresh buy. That's what my advice would be. It's already up by 33% in last 1 week. Up by 55% in last 1 month. I would suggest hold right now.
The next question is from Mr. Ganesh Timbole. Sunil sir, how many minimum months should we consider for the portfolio to go green with Mojo stocks and model portfolio during all the market factors like volatility like in the month of May or June?
तो गणेश जी वेरी सिंपल. अरे आपका तो नाम भी गणेश जी और गणेश का फेस्टिवल भी है, तो वेरी नाइस कॉम्बिनेशन. Ganesh ji, very simple thing. Forget about portfolio and Mojo stock and model portfolio. You should invest in the equity market with a minimum 3 to 5 years. Now, the moment you come with the 3 to 5 years horizon, there is a high probability that the kind of scenario that we saw in May and June will get even out. So, you know, because the short term, everything looks very exciting or it looks very depressing. But as I was mentioning to someone in my previous question, that I do believe that Sensex can touch to 1.25 lakhs by April 2027. If that is so, that's how it is. So you know, your portfolio can be in green in 1 month also, 3 months also, and 5 months also. But that's not the way you should look at it. You should come to the equity market with 3 to 5 years. So come to Mojo stock or create model portfolio only with the time frame of 3 to 5 years. And if you do that, probably it is very high that you will be able to outperform the market.
The next question is from Mr. Rakesh Gupta. Sunil ji, just for curiosity, 3rd September Mojo Stock webinar is being conducted by Mr. Sawant instead of you. Hope you are continuing with MarketsMojo and not leaving. It is important for us as you are the only person in MarketsMojo who gives insights and proper advice on individual stock or market outlook. Please respond to this.
Rakesh ji, only thing I am a little preoccupied on that particular day. That's why I am not able to do that webinar. So I'm just struggling with my logistic issues. I'm shifting my house, and that's the reason only this I'm not doing a webinar. I'm very much here. And remember, it's an organization. There are enough number of people in our team who are competent enough to guide. It's all IP driven, in fact. So where individual like me doesn't, but I'm not going anywhere. Let me first tell you that so that you don't get panic or something. But it's not. It's a company. It's a process driven, system driven organization where individual doesn't matter. So I hope that makes it very clear. Only thing, because I have some other work, that's why I'm not able to do a webinar on Saturday. That's the only thing. But yes, Samant is equally competent and he'll be there to guide you. In fact, he does better job than me, that to be very frank with you. And you will realize on Saturday.
The next question is from Mr. Ganesh M. I recently read an article that ITC is valued very less in comparison to its peers, HUL and Nestle. Does it have the potential to meet up to their prices right now?
So I will not try to say that the kind of valuation that HUL or Nestle commands, even ITC can command that kind of valuation. But if you know, ITC has been our Mojo stock. It is also our stock of the month. And after becoming so, for many years, ITC did not perform. And the moment we made it Mojo stock, it has done well. And that's again, I said, human emotions live, human emotions follow our IP. And our IP suggested this company can do well. And it did well. Am I right? And we also made it a stock of the month. And after becoming a stock of the month, it also did well. We do believe that ITC can create a lot of alpha for the investors. Can it command the same kind of valuation which HUL Nestle has commanded? Answer looks little low. See, I think one more thing which can happen. I'm just making a prediction. I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. As and when Reliance comes into any industry, they are more disruptive in terms of their approach. We saw that happening with telecom. We saw that happening in petrochemical. We did see that happening when retail, and many other people had to close down their retail stores or scale down the retail stores. In the same way, since they're entering FMCG, they will also be a little disruptive in their thought process. And hence, how each player, whether it's an Hindustan, Unilever or Nestle, they try to compete, and what strategy Reliance adopts, I think we need to wait and watch. See, one big advantage that I personally believe that Reliance has, which other people don't have, is a huge network of the customers. Reliance today knows what you are buying, what is your buying pattern. They have a lot of data analysis which the likes of Hindustan, Unilever and Nestle does not have. And I think that's where I think we need to all wait and watch what kind of what we call valuation this HUL or Nestle can command. So my sense is that ITC, so I don't think Reliance is going to enter in the cigarette business. And that's where ITC can continue to command a valuation it is commanding. It can improve further based on the performance, and if they announce the unlocking value of their other assets, it could further go up. But whether it will go up to the kind of valuation HUL and Nestle, it looks a little doubtful as we speak.
The next question is from Mr. Ashish. Recently, the airfare cap was taken off. What are your views on the aviation industries?
My dear friend, we need to wait and watch again, as I told you, because why? We don't know what's going to happen with how each one is going to play. It just happened today. So this was announced well in advance, but come into force from today. That's the only thing. So we need to wait and watch. I think some of the players are still struggling. We all know what happened with SpiceJet. The Air India is going into stronger hand. What we call Jet Airways is coming. Akash Airways of Rakesh is already started operations. So competition is increasing. We need to wait and watch. My sense is that prices should come down. That's what my sense is. But it's too difficult to come to a very meaningful conclusion at this point of time.
The next question is from Mr. Manish M. Gautam became the third richest person globally. Which of his stocks would you recommend for alpha returns?
Okay. See, I'll tell you, we just go with the score, what is available on our website. So based on our score, I would suggest you take a call. Since someone has become a third richest person globally, should that be the criteria for you to buy a company? I don't know. I'm not very sure that's the right way. And I'll give you a classical example. I'm not saying that will happen in this case, but that's not the way. If that's the only way you wish to invest in the market, I must tell you that's a very unscientific way to invest. And I can distinctly recollect, this is about Dilip Sangvi, Sun Pharma. And I think once it almost became, almost become kind of a stuff, the India's most richest person. And then since then, I think the Sun Pharma started underperforming very significantly. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Adani or so, but I think that's not the right way. The message I wish to convey to is that it's a very unscientific way, and hence that you should never do. Please refer score of our each Adani Group company, and based on that you should take a call. I must tell you, not a single Adani Group stock is a Mojo stock.
The next question is from Ms. Shruti. There's a severe power crisis in Europe. Will that impact be felt in the Indian market in the coming quarters, according to you, Sunil?
So I think power crisis in a way could also benefit some of the Indian players who can basically, their cost of production is become competitive, and then they can export those things to the Europe market. So I think there could be a benefit. Of course, there are some companies who could also get impacted negatively if the demand comes down because of collapses because of the slowdown in the Europe economy. But that's the thing. So some companies will do well, some companies will not do well. But overall impact would be neutral. I believe that's what my sense is. I've not done any analysis as such, but overall impact should be neutral. That's what my gut feeling says.
The next question is from Mr. Varun. Which stocks from the renewable energy sector would you recommend, as it seems to be a budding sector? I am holding NTPC currently.
Please continue to hold NTPC. NTPC is not a renewable energy. Of course, they have an ambitious plan to move away from the thermal to renewable energy. So that's one. Please continue with NTPC, Varunji. As far as renewable energy, I think we need to be more careful because some stories are work in progress. Some stories I'm not very sure will play out the way the management has been predicting so. Especially on the small cap front. I think you need to be a little wary of that, whatever the tall claim some of the renewable energy players are making it. So be careful in that sense. But NTPC, I think you can continue to hold.
The next question is from Mr. Harsh B. IndusInd Bank is currently having a high Mojo score, but it is not a Mojo stock. Can you share your views on this?
Yes, it can become a Mojo stock. Our investment committee has not yet taken a stand on whether it should make it as a Mojo stock or not. That's why it's not a Mojo stock. If it will become a Mojo stock, you being a paid member, you will come to know whether it's become a Mojo stock or not.
Sunil, we are done with the Q&A.
So, just to summarize, I do believe that the gain, what we saw, the gain in the month of July and August may not get sustained in the month of September. But I do believe that the sentiments in the market for the month of October would be extremely bullish. By Diwali, the market sentiment would be good. I do believe that FIIs will remain sticky with the Indian equity market and they will keep pumping in money. And I think couple of factors as an investor you should keep watching very closely what Fed does on his next Fed meeting, what has been the inflation trajectory in India and the global markets, and how southwest monsoon progresses in the month of September. And if that does not improve further, I think there could be some challenge on the real economic growth and on inflation. So I think these are the key variables. As an investor, you should keep watching it. Once again, happy Ganesh festival to everyone. Thanks a lot, everyone, taking time out and attending this webinar. Thanks a lot, Adrian, for hosting this webinar. Over to you.
Thank you everyone for attending this event. We have a rapid fire marathon Q&A event tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. with Sunil, where you can ask all your doubts on stock, sector or market related. Please do attend the upcoming webinar as well. Thank you and goodbye.